That's gonna be a few busy days for us. They did the concrete yesterday morning. They get the forms off today, and then we've got today and tomorrow to get everything framed up before they come back and pour the rest of the slab. So I've got to get all these forms off, and I've told the girls when they're done with their schoolwork to come out and help me. I'm sure Barry will come out and help me as well. I went through yesterday just with the Mini X and kind of pulled away some of the rock that was holding the forms together. And I did that around everywhere where I had backfilled with rock at. So hopefully it'll come off a little bit easier now. I'd say our tape idea worked out pretty good. You can see where it kept the concrete off of where all of our screw holes are. Well, we're making slow progress, but still moving along. Make it faster, we'll get this done in time. The next part's going to be interesting. So I added in this kind of half moon right here. So my plan is, you can see over there, that's some just some vinyl flashing or fascia. It's very flimsy. My plan is to make my circle, put that center block behind it, a CMU block behind it, and then backfill against that to keep it from moving. So hopefully it will work out. I looked and looked and could not find the boards that I've used, I don't know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that actually bend the way you want them to. I wasn't going to drive over an hour to try and find one, so hopefully this will work out. As long as it's in there tight, it should be okay. But this is going to take a bit of time to get this laid out, get the circle in there the way it needs to be, and hopefully it'll work. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Well, I'm so glad we're not doing this a month ago when it was over 100. Although it is warm, there's a nice breeze, and it's not awful. So we're laying out this archway here, and it's interesting because I've got to keep a slope away from the house into the arch at the same time. So it's been pretty interesting. But what we ended up doing here is I ran a string from my anchor bolt. Well, first of all, I ran a string from this side. We dropped it an inch between here and here, This one we dropped it an inch also between the existing slab and the form, and we got that from coming down here, dropping inch, leveling all the way down. So anyways, this is down an inch, this form's down an inch, that form's down an inch. So to make sure it slopes all the way across, we tied a string to our anchor bolt. We run that string out to the block. We raise it and lower it until that string touches this string. And then we know that we have a slope all the way out. And then this was the center of our arch here. So there's a little knot in the string. So we looked at where this point is, tied a little knot in it, and then just pull that tight around, and that gets them all pretty well straight. So they're all within, oh, I wouldn't say they're perfect, but they're pretty darn close. So after this, I got that fascia, and I wasn't going to use it, and now I'm thinking of using it again because I've got to fill these gaps like that. I got small on the other side as well. But this fascia here, not quite sure how this is going to fit, how well this will work. Worked well in my mind when I was in the store. We'll wrap this along the inside of the blocks and lower it down to where it needs to be, and that will give us this nice smooth form, I guess, or inside section. This is 8 inches, so there'll be 2 inches of gravel around the bottom of it. So that'll bend enough to get through there. Now it'll give us a nice smooth edge anyways. And then we'll fill up the insides with gravel. We'll backfill all along behind this so it shouldn't push out at all. And then of course we'll put our rebar and all that good stuff in there. That'll be the next step. Okay, it's next morning, and Barry and I spent some time out here last night kind of scratching our heads trying to figure out how to make this work, because we have several slopes coming together at one point. I went ahead and just dug this trench. It's 8 foot off of the house. It's for our thickened edge. And I wouldn't have had to have done this because we were 12 feet out, which is where that stake is there, and that had enough height. I wouldn't have had to have dug this out. I could have gone right along the top of the ground, but things changed. So it's like a little low down here. But the difficulty we were having is that we've got several different elevations. So we poured the slab up there, and it's already down 1.5 inches when it gets out here to the edge of the house, where this over here is flush with the floor. And so trying to get this elevation to match that elevation, and then also to try and create it flat to where when you walk out this door there's no real big drop there or odd surface. So we've got a flat along there, an elevation going this way, an elevation going this way, and an elevation going that way. So what we've decided to do, I'm going to start in this corner. I've already got that one leveled. I'm going to run the frame or the form down and keep it level. Wherever I end up down here, we're going to draw, take a string line and go from this corner over to my 1 inch down on that edge. So this whole side will be sloped this way. The guys that pour the concrete are just going to have to eyeball getting this elevation in there correct. So that's what we're shooting for right now. The only other option, I guess, would be to keep it level all the way around to this point, and then from here slope it up. But my concern is that that may be a little bit too steep, because I'm thinking it's going to be about a 3-inch drop somewhere around there. So 3-inch over, I think this is 20, this would be 20 feet 5 inches. It's going to be a lot less noticeable than over, 12 feet 5 inches. So anyways, I'll start getting that formed up, and hopefully it goes okay. Hope I got my trench deep enough. I'm sure I'll have to smooth it out a bit. There, and I got that front form all taken care of and looks good. Went and got the compactor. I called them and they had the 14-inch. Time I got there, the 14-inch was gone, so all I could get was the 21, which is way too big for the tight spaces we have here. But it's all I got. So what I may do is go down and just bend all the rebar up, and then that allowed me to get inside there and compact that a little better, and then just bend it back down. Otherwise, I'm going to have a heck of a time getting any of this done. But I'll get the Mini X over here. Plan on just picking up out of the back of my truck, setting it down at each spot, and then moving around to the front side. I forgot to tell Barry to soak this down when I was gone. He's taking a nap right now. But I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference or not. But I don't know. Maybe I'll splash some water on it. Maybe I'll just compact it. I'm not sure yet. Well, now it just helped me run some elevations by the string line. So you run it between your forms and you measure down. That tells you how deep you're going to be. Goal is 6 inches, so anywhere between 5.5, 6 1/4 is fine. And a couple of spaces I was at 8. So I'm not going to film it. You guys will see me shovel enough rock in this video. But I've just got one high spot to bring down, and then probably about 20 feet or so through here I've got to raise up a good inch, 1.5 inches. And then I've just got this corner over here, which when I was vibrating it or compacting it down, I could really feel that it pressed down a lot. So when you compact your base, it can sink anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch. If your base is really loose stuff, it could go well over 1 inch. But this being AB3, it packs pretty well, and I have driven over it several times with the skid steer, so it went down about 1/2 inch or so, which is to be expected. Some areas did go down a little bit more. That corner back there behind me I just talked about went down at least 1 inch. And this area over here that's down 8 inches deep, I don't know what happened there. But I'll get to shoveling, compact it again. I've got to get the compactor back. Otherwise I got to pay 4 more hours for it. We only had a couple days in between pours, and somewhere along the way I missed the video on installing the rebar. But I just did a 4x4 pattern of number 3 or 3/8 rebar. This really isn't going to be holding much weight, and the rebar is just meant to keep the slab from pulling apart on us in the future. Watch closely during the pour though, and you'll see a pretty major mistake I'll go over here in a minute. Well, got our porch poured, and didn't go quite according to plan. Had a couple issues. The biggest one, well, I guess not the biggest one, but I ordered 18 yards. We ended up about a yard short, and which is weird because I calculated it twice and came up with the same amount. I always add a little bit to it. Yesterday I added a 1/2 yard. We ended up with about a yard and a half extra, and this time we were short, so that half circle area is where we ran out at. But they did a good job getting it worked in. The sun was already beaten down on it, so it ended up drying on them a bit, and they got it worked in. They were really good. They got the chalk lines marked out where they're going to do their saw cuts when they come back a little bit later today. But the part that I messed up on was over here, and it's just I missed backfilling against this form. So you can see this form. See how it bows out there, and it really pushed out on the bottom. I just didn't have enough backfill against it. So as it started to push out, I came around and got some stakes in as fast as I could to keep it from pushing out anymore. And a blowout like that, or push out, isn't a big deal, but what ended up happening is not only did it pushed the bottom out, and then as the concrete was trying to push out, it raised everything up. So this whole side started pushing up, And then I came through and grabbed one of their little stakes here that has the holes in it to screw it down. So I hammered that in. I could stand on it and it would go down about 1.5 inches, and I screwed it in. So this all stayed nice and level where it needed to be. But this section humped up. So they tried to work it down a little bit. You can see on the form there that the form, they smoothed the concrete out a little bit below the form to try and help. But there's a good chance on this side that the water may pool a little weird. We're not going to know until we get our first rain. So now I'm going to do is get rid of some of that gravel. Just going to hop on the skid steer and go down the road and fill a couple holes and level that out a bit, and then wait for the guy to show up to do the saw cutting. And then hopefully we'll start framing here pretty soon. I'll get the forms off tomorrow and get to sit out on the deck or on the new patio tomorrow morning and have coffee. That'll be nice. Okay, Barry and I got all the forms off. I went around, I got everything cleaned up, and I just took the weed blower and blew off the concrete. So I got a nice place to have coffee tomorrow morning. We're supposed to hopefully get some rain tonight. So especially where you can see the concrete comes down, I got a good gap there, but it touches pretty much all the way around. So I'm going to do is take this pink stuff, the Proso, I have to look it up again. I've got several tubes of it, and I need to go along that bottom, make sure it's sealed up so I don't get any rain soaking up, wicking up into the bottom of my sheeting. This little clean out could have turned out better, but their concrete's a bit high. This should have been a good 1/4 inch lower, and this would have been nice and flush, but it turned out okay though. It's got a nice clean out in there. I was talking about maybe doing like an acid stain on this, but I don't know now. I'm not really sure what to do with it. The biggest thing I was thinking of is that with an acid stain or acid wash, I would have to put the acid on there, let it sit, wash it off, scrub it down and everything, and a lot of that's going to just flow right down onto here. And I don't know if that's going to stain this, and I don't want that. This needs to be just concrete, and this would need to be stained. So how to do that is one question. I had the same problem over here in the dining area where if I were to stain this, I know the stain would just end up all over this area. So I think I'm probably just going to put some vinyl planking down again and call it good or figure something out. But I like to try staining sometime. I just don't think that it's going to work in this case. So need to get the drain tube, drain tile around the outside, and figure out how that's going to get around this corner over there, because that's going to be flush with the ground, and then it's going to have to raise back up, which of course isn't going to work. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that yet. So the goal is to come off this corner and then have that drain tile head out around and then down the ditch and on down to where the pond's going to be. And then we get a little bit of right about in here somewhere, we get some groundwater comes out when we get heavy rains. So I want to be able to collect that and then send it on down to the pond too in the same tube. So I got that drain tile sticking up over there, and of course Odie ate all my drain tile. You see that little piece sticking out. It's in pieces over there. My dog thinks he's a cat. He smells a mouse or a rat and he just goes nuts. And he's ripped wires out from under cars. He's ripped the license plate off Barry's car. He's hit my trailer lights. He's ripped that all to shreds. He's kind of a little crazy when it comes to mice. But Nat and I are already talking about what kind of landscaping we're going to be doing, and she doesn't want to have anything that's too maintenance intense. So we need to figure that out, because I want to get backfilling around this as soon as I can, and then start to get the grade set and done with. And so I don't know how far out she wants to go with some sort of landscaping, but I know she wants it to be pretty minimal. I was actually picturing it going out quite a bit. You know, there's our septic tanks going out maybe right to there, you know, something along those lines. But we'll figure that out. But I got to get my material list together so I can get some lumber out here and then start getting this framed up. I've already got, I mean, it's a pretty simple plan. I got to get trusses ordered. Talked to the fireplace guy the other day and got him working on that. So my goal is to have everything framed up, pretty much enclosed and ready to go for windows so we can get it dried in before winter hits. We'll see. Things always tend to get in the way.